Aaron, this is Coach Oldman. I'm going to start your mechanical breakdown by just letting it play through your entire delivery in slow motion. Alright, so when we break down our pitching mechanics, there are 5 phases of the delivery that we pay attention to. Alright, the first one is called hip load. Hip load is what position we're in as we get to the apex of our pitching delivery. Okay, as we lift our leg, our front leg should be tracking up towards our back shoulder. Now, if you look at yours is going up towards the middle of our body. Okay, so I want you to think about, as you lift your leg, moving this thing up towards this back shoulder. Alright? The reason we want this is it sets up our hips in a good position in order to move down the mound. Okay, so it's a really easy adjustment, and it'll pay dividends down the road. And I'll show you why here in a second. Okay, the second thing that I look for is I want to see this back leg fully extended. Okay. All right, I want to see this back leg fully extended. Okay, now if you notice, I would suggest that you not leg kick so high, okay, because what you'll notice is you don't start moving down the mound until about right here is when your hips start to go. You kind of go in an up, down, and out. Alright, so going all the way up to this point isn't really doing you any good because you're not moving down the mound until you get to about right here. Okay, so I would think about just lifting to about right there. Okay, because you'll notice here you're going up, you're going towards that back shoulder, and then it kind of switches directions on you and it goes up towards this front shoulder. Alright, so I would consider just lifting your leg to about this point, because going up to this point isn't really doing you any good. Also, you'll notice because you're lifting so high, if we start here, because you're lifting so high, you kind of get some lean back in your posture. Alright, and I think it's just to get your leg kick up that high. Alright, so if it's not really doing us any good to get it that high, we might as well not do it. So that's one thing that I notice. Okay, and then lastly, when we go down the mound, once we get to the apex of our leg lift, our hips should go first. Okay, our hips should lead us down the mound first. And the way we start our initial movement down the mound is I should see a slight elevation in our front hip compared to our back hip. Okay, that front hip should be the first thing that goes down the mound. Okay, so these are just some things to keep in mind just during the leg lift. All right, they're super easy fixes, but they're really important because they set us up in a good position as we start to make our move down the mound. All right, once we get through hip load and we move into hip lead. Okay, hip lead is about in this position where we get our front foot out in front of our front shoulder. Okay, when we're here, here's some things that I'm looking for. First, all right, I want to see what's known as a knee pinch. All right, I need to see this front knee pinch in towards your catcher. Okay, the reason we need to create that angle is we need to be able to apply force into the ground at an angle away from home plate, all right, so that way we can project our body or laterally drive down the mound directly towards home plate or towards our catcher. Okay, if you'll notice, your back knee does not move in very much. All right, we need to see that back knee track in towards the catcher more. Okay, yours isn't moving in very much, and so we're not able to get into the ground very well and create a lateral drive towards our catcher. All right, your knee actually comes up over your toes. If we look at this video on the left, or sorry, on the right, okay, your knee is going this direction. All right, we want that knee to pinch more in directly towards the catcher. All right, so we need to improve our direction towards home plate. Okay, there's a bunch of reasons for this. First, when we drive down the mound, we need to activate our glutes because this is one of the largest muscles in our body, and it helps us rotate more efficiently. Okay, when your knee comes up over your toes or past your toes like yours is doing here, and you'll notice it gets worse as you go down the mound. when your knee comes past your toes like that, now you're rotating with your quads and you're not able to rotate as effectively. All right? And there's a lot of velocity leak there. Okay, so we really need to work on using your lower half more effectively as we move down the mound. Okay? So I want you to think about, as you go into your lateral drive, all right, keeping that back heel connected as long as possible. All right, look, right here is when you start to lose your heel. And once you do that, you're not rotating with your glutes anymore, and you're not rotating very effectively. Okay, so you need to really focus on the lateral drive drills that are on the app in order to improve this. Okay, now what happens is, because we're rotating up onto that toe early, we have to rotate early with our hips, and then our body's got to balance itself so we land on our toe on the front side. Okay, so see how you're landing on your toe on the front side? It's because it's a result of what's happening on the back side. Okay, when we get into our next phase, which is called front foot strike, okay, there's a couple things that I look for. First, I like to draw a line right up between your two feet, and I want to see your head behind that midline. Okay, there's a bunch of reasons for this. First, okay, I want your head back here because that allows you to use your mass in the center of your body and your trunk more effectively. We're able to get that weight behind the ball, kind of like a catapult, and we're able to put more force, apply more force to the ball in that way, and we're able to throw harder. All right, so that's something to think about. But the problem is you can't get to that position because you come up onto your toes so early. All right, on your back toe. Okay, so we really need to focus on how we drive down the mound from this point in order to make us use our body better at this point. Okay, our head should be back. All right, you'll also notice that you rotate open early with this front shoulder. All right, our glove should still be up with our thumb pointing down in this position in order to keep those front shoulders closed, allowing our hips to open and create what's called hip to shoulder separation. All right, and then finally, after front foot strike, we go out into release. The big thing I look for in release is I want to see that front leg fully extended. All right, which is what you have. That's pretty good. Okay, once we transfer that energy from our back leg to our front leg, it's got to stop it and then transfer it up through our trunk, out our hand. And the best way to do is with what's known as a lead leg block, where that front leg is completely extended, and you do a pretty good job of that. So, so that's pretty good. And then as we finish, we come up and over. Okay. So the big things for you, Aaron, are continuing to get stronger in the weight room. All right, and then using that strength. All right, using your long levers and your length more effectively. And the big thing starts with how we drive down the mound, and I think a lot of it has to do with how we set up all the way back in this position. All right, if we're able to use our glutes more effectively, sit through that heel and drive through the middle of our foot instead of having our knees come up over our toe or come past our toe. All right, if we're able to use our glutes more effectively, we should see a bump in velocity. So for you, it's really important that we focus on our lateral drive drills over the next month. Like always, if you have any questions or if you want to discuss more, don't hesitate to talk to either Coach Glover or I. All right, thank you.